Hello, it's Classy here back with another Tribes video, and today I will be doing a 5-star showcase of Time Travel Sasuke. And this is the featured unit from the current banner. And remember that this is a 1 UR banner instead of having multiple units. So credit to Upsetty for sending all the clips over. He has a 64,000 power Sasuke with tier 16, level 86. And the first thing we're going to do, as always, is take a look at the art. I really like this art, and it reminds me of Tobirama's art, where the sword is pointed towards the viewer and there's a color theme in the background. In this case, it's purplish instead of blue, like Tobirama had, but it still reflects the same motion in action, kind of like taking a snapshot of a sword swing. And if you look at the animated version, the lights are reflecting off of the character, but also the blade and like the fire effects, purple fire effects. Now, the only interesting thing about the unit description is that Urashiki is mentioned, and besides that, it's just a summary of what happened like during time travel arc. But it always is a nice thing to include some hints at maybe a future character. Now for the stats, we can see that this character actually is a little bit more offense oriented than some of the other tanks, because his defensive stats are actually not as high as you would think for a D unit. But the guard rate is definitely standing out here, and also the damage increase rate, the critical rate. But the damage reduction rate and guard damage reduction rate are pretty decent, but not as high as you would expect, and guard suppression rate is a little bit lower, so it will be hard to get past the opponent's guard. And I can't really say anything too special about these stats. It's pretty average. For the links, we have Jirai and Tsunade. Jirai was in the arc, but I don't remember Tsunade being there, so it's a little weird. Time Travel Boruto and Kid Naruto were also in the arc. UR Sarda and D-type Mama Sakura are his family members, so that makes sense. And for those links, it's a little bit harder to get. Time Travel Boruto and UR Sarda being the hardest ones to get out of those characters. Now moving on, we're going to the skills. So the first skill, Special Ninjutsu Amaterasu, I think. It lowers one enemy's damage reduction rate by 22% first, then deals single target damage with a 50% chance to burn them, with like 13k damage taken at the start of each turn for 4 turns, like other burn. Boosts all allies damage reduction rate by 7 or 18%, boost all allies guard rate by 24%, and boost all allies guard damage reduction rate by 20%. So I think this jutsu is actually pretty strong. It has good offensive and defensive capabilities. First, with the damage reduction rate decrease on the target he's attacking before he attacks, so he should be able to nuke them for a lot of damage. And if he doesn't, he'll apply burn, which will basically damage them even further for someone else to finish the unit off. And then he also boosts 3 defensive stats for all 9 of your allies. Although this isn't going to last for the rest of the battle, it still applies for the turn that he uses the jutsu and the turn after. So you'll have 6 of your allies benefiting from this. And basically it's guard rate, guard damage reduction rate, and damage reduction rate. So just all solid defensive stats. Now for his skill 2, he deals regular skill 2 damage, boosts all ally status effect rate by 4.3%. So this is actually a really good skill 2 because it affects all allies and it boosts status effect rate, which is definitely rarer to find. And this basically means the chance that any of your allies applies a status effect is increased. So that's always useful because everyone is still using status effects. Now his skill 4, boosts all active allies damage reduction rate by 25% when he's active at the start of the turn. Boosts all active allies guard rate by 18% when he's active at the start of the turn. Boosts all allies status effect suppression rate by 6% for the rest of the battle. So the first two lines is basically your generic tank effects. Like there's so many different D units that boost these for the active allies. It's very hard to make this unique, but it's just a solid effect. Now remember, this time it's only going to affect the 3 active allies, so definitely limits the usage of this. But I really like the status effect suppression rate buff for all allies and its permanence, so you reduce the chance of the opponent applying a status effect to your units. So I think this had some similarities to Heat Dawn, I believe, and I believe this is just kind of like a power creep 2.0 version of Heat Dawn. Not 100% mirrored, but has the same ideas. Okay, now going to the vitality. This also makes this unit a lot more likable. The initial chakra vitality is great on tanks because with Sai you can jutsu on turn 2. So this guy will be able to jutsu very soon, unlike some of the other tanks who have to jutsu on turn 3. And that helps because, you know, he applies burn, he does the different defensive buffs, and he does a lot of damage. So you might just be able to take someone out earlier than with another tank. Okay. Now for the limit break 2, we have lowers all enemies' attack at the start of any turn after an ally has been defeated. Lasts for the rest of the battle. So this one will only apply once, and this is a permanent debuff on all of the enemies. So just take the first ally that dies and then apply this effect to all of your enemies. That's basically what this said, and I think this is pretty good. I don't remember the number specifically, but I assume it's not that much, but this still has an impact, especially on AoE units. So I think this is fine. Now we're going to move on to Arena to showcase his usage. I think that he could see usage in multiple different modes. The PvP modes, Arena, Ninja World Tournament, he's probably going to be pretty good in. We have Abyss, where you can definitely use tanks to tank things, and he also applies burn, which is useful, and I think he could be good for Abyss as well. And then the last 2 modes here are FG and ATB. I don't necessarily think he can be like used too well. Like he could be used, but definitely not the top tier choices for that. So you probably don't need to use him for those 2 modes. You probably have better options at that point. But yeah, time to go to Arena. Okay, so we're here with the Arena match, and I believe the opponent is 40k higher in power here. So this should be a pretty close fight and allow for Sasuke to do a lot of different things this game. So we're starting off. We have a triple Sasuke cell, I believe. Yeah, he's in Spirit behind Kirin and with SR Heavy. Alright, so not much to see so far until he rotates in, then he will. Alright, so we have the damage reduction rate and guard rate boosts from his 4th skill, and I don't remember checking this in the beginning of the battle actually. Yeah, he actually applied the status effect suppression rate permanent buff all the way at the beginning of the battle to all of his allies, as you can see on the red text. So I should have mentioned that earlier. That part applies during the beginning. Alright, so back to where we were. Oh, I forgot to talk about the character model. I think the character model actually looks very good for this character. Jutsu animation, I don't recall. Could be good, but he first reduces damage reduction rate, then he attacks. Okay, yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. Now we see the guard rate up, damage reduction rate up, so just a lot of defense stacking on top of each other. And the damage is not too good, and there's no crit here. So if he crit, he probably could have done more, but I really like the Jutsu animation. I think they've been improving on their animation art. Guard damage reduction rate up as well. So let's just keep going ahead. And now we're here again. Fourth skill triggers. Speed. So they get to go first. Luckily we have a tanky cell. Okay. That Kieran did a lot of damage. Here we go, he swings his blade with the Materasu flames. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Definitely a much better hit than the last one with the crit. 600k is quite good for a tank, and he does have 5k initial, so he can deal that damage early. Now he goes again. Don't think that was a skill 2, unfortunately. Oh wait, never mind, that's the wrong guy. So because of the confuse, we messed up the ordering, and now he doesn't have enough chakra. So that's unfortunate. Okay, just go ahead. I think this battle is pretty much close to over. We messed up the opponent's rotation a lot more than they did to us. So one more fourth skill trigger and one more jutsu. There we go. Like 570k on crit, so lots of good damage here. And this unit doesn't really bring any effects that are too special, so I can't really talk too much about it, but I do say that this is a good unit, and maybe on like a number scale, probably like an 8 or like an 8 to 9. That was what I would say. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully Tribes has more content coming out soon. Thanks for watching.